Toby in a shed.
Toby in a shed sounds like Sarah and Duck, doesn't it?
Sarah and Duck, how old are you?
Well, with a young child, I feel very old. Anyway, today we have got this, the VanTrue Falcon 1 or F1 motorcycle dash cam.
Ooh. We're doing a lot of dash cams, aren't we?
We are. Now, we've done a lot of Chigee.
Chigee.
Now, us reviewing this doesn't mean that we don't like Chigee, but we spoke to these people because I looked at it and the Chigee's really good, but on my RTP, having the Chigee hardwired in means that there's not an awful lot of real estate to put a Garmin or anything like that on there, because I really like using the Chigee, but I want the option of being able to use one or the other. So I thought something like this, hardwired as a separate unit. The Chigee's really, really good, but as a separate unit, I can then put on the Chigee BMW edition that they've got straight into the sat-nav holder and have a separate thing. So I can either put that on there or the Garmin XT that I've got with the 3D AM mount. So I've got the best of both worlds, and then I can move that Chigee from bike to bike.
Oh.
The cameras and stuff on the Chigee are really good, but I wanted to talk about this. So
Yeah,
this
it went away from that then. What's it called again? The
VanTrue. It's got its own app. The Falcon, or model number is F1, but it's Falcon 1 dash cam. And it's got the button, it's got the GPS, it's got the main unit. So it mimics much the same as all the other ones out there, but I've looked at quite a few reviews and a lot of people seem to think that it's really good. So this one supports 4K on the front, 1080p on the rear. It's got a Sony IMX415 plus an IMX307 sensor. That means an awful lot to me. Ooh. So it's obviously going to have good quality. It's got 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi as well, because on some of the older versions of different models, not necessarily from these people, on the 2.4, connecting it wirelessly from your phone through the app took an age to download anything, didn't it? Whereas the 5 gigahertz is really quick. Comes with a good app. It's got voice notifications, built-in GPS, collision detection parking mode if you would like it, wide angle viewing, waterproof IP67, which is brilliant because you can put it anywhere on your bike. And it works in extreme temperatures, and it supports up to 512 megabytes or gigabytes of SD card if you want to, but I've only ever put like 128 in there.
If it's going to rewrite itself, it doesn't matter, does it?
Now they do say that you should format the card every couple of weeks or every month, which I find a little bit bizarre because I've never had to reformat cards in any of the different makes of stuff that we've had before. And what's the sensor? The trigger that senses that you've been knocked into.
Collision sensor.
Collision sensor is really sensitive on this, and I've seen on lots of reviews that most people have disabled it, and that's probably what I'll do because I don't want it bumping over something and thinking that that's going to save a file, because the more files that are saved, the fuller your card gets. So it can't over rewrite, so the space gets smaller and smaller. So
when you think about it, a few years ago, the standard and the number of cameras that are available for bikes was really small.
And really poor cameras as well, aren't they?
And now, they're massive. Now, it's phenomenal now, isn't it? There's loads of them, all really good quality.
So I'm just going to have it on, so I use the button to record anything or save and protect any of the recordings when something's happened, and then just make sure I download it before I then reformat the card every whip and flip. But let's have a look.
This is an unboxing,
isn't it?
And then you're going to fit it to your bike.
Yeah, because the fitting is much the same. You've got a plus and a minus, and then you've got an accessory lead. The accessory lead on mine will follow the same instructions as I did the Chigee, the Innovv, the Third Eye, all that sort of stuff, straight into the Hex Easy Cam that I've got fitted on the bike. And it saves everything going to the battery. So I'll show you where I've routed all the cables, but then once it's fitted, I'll go through the app and show you how the video and the app interact and how many different things you can do on the app, because you can change everything.
But all we're going to do today is the
bit of an unboxing.
sniff test.
Oh yeah.
And
well, first things first, I know that you hate me saying this, Mark, but all these companies now are taking a real pride in how these things look. If you imagine that on the shelf next to something else that just says generic thing in a really rubbish, you know,
it looks good.
It starts from here, doesn't it? So really hefty weight to it. So let's open it up and see what we've got in there.
Oh!
So firstly, you're greeted with a VanTrue logo, automobile security and dash cam focused, and it actually has this focused on where all the things are. Nice little touch. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Nice little touch. Nothing on the back, but it's nice to open something and feel like you're opening something. I think Apple have been one of the people that have driven this, haven't they? Because the unboxing experience where you first get to touch something is really important, isn't it?
Yeah, I've never opened
I know Mark's going, but it's true, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you open something that is just strewn in there and tied up with a bit of tape, it looks awful. So is the quality of the stuff going to be as good as the quality of the boxing? And that's what you're led to believe, isn't it?
Basically, these boxes just help you when it open the box and it all falls out. So you know where it all is.
Unbelievable. Right.
Back to unboxing.
So we've got 3 boxes. So this bottom box seems to have the actual VanTrue unit, the wires, not sure what is, but handy finger holes to get stuff in. Then you've got your accessories, and then it looks like you've got the mounts and more cables. That looks like it's the cable that goes to the battery, but let's have a look. Let's open this one first.
Ooh. Oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
There's something else under there.
Oh, let me do a sniff test. Oh, no. No 3M sniff test in there.
Weird.
Right, so what do we get in this one? So, yes, I was right. So, as on the box, it's got the mount. They're like a baggy smell. Right, so you get a mount. That's a big mount, isn't it?
Yeah.
With a ball on there, and obviously that will twist down and tighten the ball up so you can angle whatever it is that you want to put that on. I guess that's for a camera.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't put the unit out on top. So you get that. So let's put that away. And then you get the wiring. So I really like the fact that they take time, but I also don't like the fact that they put it all in these bags.
In plastic.
Oh. So this is the main wiring loom, isn't it? So you've got the negative or the ground and the live, and then the accessory cable. Of course, I'll snip that off and that will go straight into the Hex Easy Can, and then this will go into the main unit itself.
Oh.
But notice that the plug is proprietary, but it's obviously got a colour on it, and it's quite a different shape than the rest of them. So chances are you're not going to be able to get the plugging in of these cables wrong. Well, I look at Mark.
I probably could prove you wrong, but you know.
Well, probably. This one is accessories, apparently. I really like
earrings.
Yeah.
Cufflinks.
Right, so you get. Oh, look at that. Cufflinks. Some zip ties, which is really good. Oh, we get another one in there.
Can never have enough zip ties.
And then some more accessories. So, what's that?
Depending on how many prisoners you have.
Yeah. Oh. Previous lives and all that. Right, this is all the sticky.
Oh.
It's sticky, but it doesn't smell of 3M.
Yeah.
All different shapes. They will all come apparent.
What they are?
They're self-adhesive, double-sided sticky pads, and I would presume they're the same shape as the main unit box, so it goes under the bottom so you can stick it on, I would have thought. These are the bits for the camera mounts.
Wow.
That's good, isn't it? Right,
Yeah.
just put all that. No, I'll leave that there next to that box so we remember which it is. And then we've got something else here. Allen keys and tools by the looks of it.
If you open that, you'll lose it.
I'm going to open it.
Oh, you're going to lose it.
Oh, we get tiny little screws and a little screwdriver, a little pentalope type screwdriver.
Pentalope?
Yeah, it's got one of those.
Is that what it's called?
I don't know. Might be. It reminds me of when you fix an iPhone.
Looks like something you have a Christmas cracker.
And Allen key. So you get those. Right, that can go there. Then we move on to this one. So this is going to have the main unit in, isn't it? I would have thought.
We hope so, otherwise we're missing a box.
My God, there's loads in here. Right. So, main unit. That is the main unit. So it's quite a big main unit. And it looks as though that's quite a big, what do they call it?
Base.
No, it dissipates the heat.
Heat dissipate thing.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's, a heat sink, that sort of thing, to dissipate the heat. And then you've got all these connections. You can see they're all very different. So how anybody can get them plugged in the wrong way, I do not know.
You know.
And then you've got the little screw holes there for your SD card. So your SD card will go in there, which is brilliant. So that's the main unit. What else do we get?
More cables.
More cables. So this looks like an extension cable for one of the cameras, I would say. Because I would say they're the two cameras.
Yeah, it looks like a front camera, doesn't it?
That looks as though it's an extension, so that you've got an extension to get it wherever you want. What have you got here? VanTrue Share and Win.
Oh.
Share your best video and get a chance to win. Oh, that's good. All in different languages, so I could be multilingual and read it all out to you, but I'm not.
I know you're not.
No. Right. Oh, look. A handy wiping cloth. They're always handy for mobile phones.
Always handy, yeah.
And then a manual. Now, I've had a look through the manual, and the manual is actually written very, very well. See, all these people that explain that, or say that, get something from China, it's really badly translated, they're getting better and better, and it depends on what
AI
company you're using it.
Probably.
I don't know.
AI?
I thought it was owl. Big
owl.
Anyway, so that's what that big bracket's for, to hold your camera on the front or the back, presumably if you want to put it on the handlebars, but I wouldn't want mine on the handlebars anyway. But really, really good manual, and quite thick because it's in different languages as well. So whatever language you speak or understand, it's probably covered in the manual. Then you get another extension cable.
That would be the rear camera then, or whatever camera.
Well, I don't know, but I'm hoping
We'll
that I'm hoping somewhere it will tell us what we've got.
I was going to make an obvious mistake there and say I haven't seen any cameras yet, and then I've just realised that that's them there.
Yes. Oh, there we go.
I hadn't looked that closely.
So this connection, that white one is for the connection to the battery. Then we've got the thick one is for the button, which you haven't seen yet. That's for the button to save files and do your Wi-Fi and stuff. And then these last two, which is quite strange that it's a square one, those last two are the cameras. Oh. So you've got an extension for both cameras, as well as the wire from the cameras, which are in here.
I suppose that depends what kind of bike you've got and where this gets fitted. I mean,
yeah.
Good though, eh? You happy with that?
Well, we haven't finished yet.
Oh, more.
Yeah. Now, this is the version of VanTrue's controlling button. So at the top you've got the on-off, and it's quite clicky, made of plastic, so you can turn the Wi-Fi on and off. You can save the files, you can do a whole host of things, and we'll go into that once we've connected it and got it all up working. The one thing that I do know is that cable's really thick, isn't it?
That is, I don't know. I can't work out. It's probably what, 8 mil, something like that. Thick.
Yeah, about 3 miles wide. But hey ho. But if it works, it works. What I do like about it is you can see that square hole goes all the way through.
For a tie wrap.
For a tie wrap. So they've thought about where you might mount that. If you're going to mount it.
Zip tie. Zip tie. Zip tie was
or tie wrap. They're all the same thing, aren't they? And then we get the cameras. So one camera has got that connection, and one camera has got that connection. So you cannot get them in the wrong order, can you? You just cannot.
Mm.
You might wire them up in the wrong sequence, like the back goes to the back and the front goes to the front, but that's down to looking in the manual, isn't it? But look at these. This is the camera, or one of them. Now, firstly, you feel that, Mark? It's metal, isn't it?
Well, it's cold, so it probably is metal.
Yeah, I like the fact that they've got their VanTrue in there, but it's not one of those garish symbols that's everywhere. Nice looking looking camera, and obviously you'll be able to twist it that way and up and down with undoing the Allen key there. A bit strange that lots of cameras are having these open holes and stuff on the mounts. You'd think for addition to something it would be better for a full one, but I suppose what you can do is bend that around something to stick it on, or manipulate the shape. But they feel very hefty. They look as though they're connected, the cables are connected in very well.
It's 1080p.
Mark!
You see what I did?
Oh my God.
See what I did?
Oh, you're getting better and better, aren't you?
It's only been a few years.
Right, and then this is the 4K camera. So against the 1080p camera, I don't think there's any size difference, is there? No. They look the same diameter, but like Mark had found on the back, 4K and 1080p, so you can't get it wrong, can you? 4K to the front, 1080p to the back, unless of course you want to do it the other way around. It's up to you, isn't it?
And I like the fact that they've got marks there to line your lens up, which will obviously be important when you come along. So that will be up. So if you mount it that way, you just have to undo it and then twist it until that line is up the top. Oh, you're clever.
Do you know? That is everything you get in there. Now, I don't know why they're all different shapes. Now, this shape is the same shape as the back of there. So you've got spare adhesion tabs for the button, spare adhesion tabs for the mounts for the cameras. I'm presuming that this... Oh, there we are, look. You see the indents there?
Oh, yeah.
So if you wanted to mount that...
peel off stickies, are they?
Yeah, the double-sided sticky. So you'd stick that there, stick it in somewhere. I'm probably going to mount it with some double-sided Velcro.
Okay.
Now, they do say, I think, that the GPS unit is in there, so it needs some sort of way of seeing a GPS signal. Might be a little bit dodgy on the RTP, because I'm going to put it underneath the hump metal plate. Don't know whether that's going to work, but I don't really want to mount it up the front of the bike, although I could do. But then we'll come to that when, we get to that when we come to it. But it feels really substantial, and I really love the packaging. So what we'll do, VanTrue, thank you very much for sending it to us. And obviously we have to be quite transparent that they sent it to us so that we could review, but they're not going to look at the video. They're not going to comment on the video as to whether we should put it out or not before it goes out. So the comments and the experiences are all down to us. Which is the way that we work.
Us where we do it.
Yeah, and I know that people have put in comments before, oh, another YouTuber that's obviously going to say something nice because they've been sent stuff. We have had companies send stuff to us, and we've looked at it and we've said, I'm really sorry, but we're not prepared to review it because the quality isn't good enough for what we want to be able to review. And we've sent it back.
Excellent.
You know, upfront and honest all the way is our game, and you know that. Only when we need to be honest. You've seen us unbox this amazing bit of kit, the VanTrue F1. I think it's Falcon 1, but it's a dash cam made specifically for motorbikes. And you've seen me do the Innovv dash cams, the K5, the K4, the K7, which are equally as good. This is equally as good as that one. They combine the GPS into the main unit that you saw us unbox. So if you come this way, we got Graham on the camera today. You'll see much more of Graham in forthcoming weeks, I'm sure. But come this way, Graham. So it comes with a 4K camera, which is there. And these ones, they're actually made of metal with a sticky mount. So I've stuck the mount on there, and the wiring goes all the way up along the side, all up inside. Now, I'm not going to show you where it was because it's just all filtered in and fixed in all around the duct inside there, all the way through. And then I've put the main unit underneath the hump. And I was a bit worried that having the main unit with the GPS unit underneath the hump, that it wouldn't pick up the GPS unit, the GPS signal, but it picks it up fine, even with that slice of metal on top of the hump. I have got another camera. This is a 1080p camera. It's slightly on a wonk, but because of the design of the bracket, you can maneuver it so it's upright when the bike's upright. I wanted it there where the other one was, where I used to have the old Chigee unit, but the cables aren't long enough. So although it's an amazing unit, it's really, really good, there are a couple of things that I would change for it. One, noticeably, that at the end of the camera, so you have the camera there and the cable is only about that long. then you have to connect it to the extension to then go into the back. Same with the front. That connection, I would say, should be about that long rather than that long, because I didn't have enough room to not have the connection outside of the bike if I'd put the camera in the middle of the bike. So I had to come to the side of the bike. So that connection, although I've put tape around and it's sealed, it would be hanging out the side, and I didn't like that. So I've put it up underneath, actually inside, so the connection is actually inside, but that's the extent to the length, so it could be a bit longer. But the unit itself is really good. Where are my keys? So we start the unit up, and I have turned off the lady that so eloquently says, recording started. She's very, very lovely voice, but I don't want to hear it all the time. So when you turn the ignition on, because I've got this going into the easy can, it then tells me that the power's coming on with the red light, and then it tells me that the Wi-Fi is starting, and it's recording, sorry, that flashes slowly, and then you've got noise or sound recording on it, so you can turn that off. So you can press the button to hold the recording, so it records. I think I've set this up to 3 minutes, that sort of thing.
And they're lovely colours.
They are really, really nice colours, aren't they? However, I would have preferred the green to be I've got power, because that means everything's okay, and the red, because on every single camera you have, when it says it's recording, it's flashing red. Why does this flash green?
No, you're being picky.
Being picky, because it kind of doesn't make sense to use these colours. But even though this is plastic, this controller, it's actually really well made. It's waterproof, but the only thing that I thought was really strange is that cable from this remote is really thick. It's the thickest cable I've seen. It's thicker than the cables going from the camera to the main unit. So you've got to think about where you're going to hide that and where you're going to put it, because it's really quite a thick connection. Right, so I'm going to go into my mobile phone and into my settings, where it will pick up, even though the box, the main unit, is underneath here, underneath the metal plate, it will pick up my Wi-Fi when it's on. Sometimes an iPhone or an Android takes quite a while to pick up the Wi-Fi that's nearby, but now it's picked it up. So F1 VanTrue, so you click that one and it might say, do you want to join it? Mine's just joined it straight away because I've set all the settings up. So the default password is 12345678. It's so difficult to work out. So if you are going to use it, there are some handy settings in here that you can turn the Wi-Fi off after a certain amount of time, so it's not running all the time. But you can turn it off after different time periods as well. But then you go to your VanTrue app, which I've got to say is very good. It then tells you to turn on the Wi-Fi that you've already done and connect it. And this does it every time. This is one of the things I would perhaps change, that it's constantly saying what you should do to connect it. And it's picked up the VanTrue, so I'm going to connect to my device. And having pressed the button, it then connects to the device. And you can see at the top, it's got the big screen there. I can change it by clicking on it, which changes the orientation. And I can change it and put a grid on there. I can look at the mileage statistics straight from that screen, which is really, really good, including altitude, driving time, all that sort of stuff. I can change the different settings on it, and then you've got a microphone and you've got a snapshot button on the left hand side, and then you've got a camera button that you can switch things around, and then you've got browsing the card file that you've already taken. So as you go through to here, I've got it set up into 1 minute blocks, I think, or it might be 3 minute blocks. We'll have a look in a minute. But then you can just select one of the recordings and you can either download it or you can play it straight away, which is really, really good. And that's playing over the Wi-Fi, which is 5 gigahertz, which is really, really good. And you can download it by just pressing the download. And for one of these files, it takes no time whatsoever. So I'm downloading one of one, and you can see that the percentage is flying up. So I'm not going to download that because I don't want it, but it just shows how quickly it is. And you come back again to the main screen. And then of course we've got a load of stuff that we can change for our settings just at the top right hand side, and it always stops recording, but there's a myriad of settings in here. You can sync the phone time, you can change the language, you can change the Wi-Fi password, which I've done, but you can't change the BSSID, you know, the thing that is telling you to what to connect. It's always VanTrue for some reason. You can change the resolution and you just click on it, and you can change the resolution and frames per second for the front. You can do for the front and rear, and they're all of your choices. So you've got from 720p 30 frames a second all the way up to 2160p and 1080p, which is really quite good, isn't it? I've got it on the front one, I've got on the maximum that I could possibly get. They say it's 4K, but I'm not a videophile, so it does actually look really good. And what we'll do at some point in the video is put some video of back and front on there so you know exactly what it looks like. You can converge 2 videos into one if you wanted to. I've got that off because I want to be able to select back and front rather than having it actually hardwired into the video, if you like. You can have loop recording and you can change that from off, 1 minute, 3 minutes and 5 minutes, and I've got mine at 1 minute because I think 1 minute is enough. And if my SD card goes wrong, I've only lost that 1 minute, whereas if I'm doing it as 10 minutes or 5 minutes, potentially if it gets corrupted, there's nothing to be able to get back. You can have voice alert, which I've turned off. She is really good, but it gets really annoying when she's saying recording on. It's really quite loud when you're in the garage, so it's quite embarrassing. There's a G sensor on it as well, front and rear, left and right, up and down, and I've turned all of those off because I think it was a little bit too sensitive, even on the lowest sensitivity, and it was picking up and locking lots of files, which I didn't want to be locked really. And then that will fill your SD card up because normally it will fill up and fill up and fill up and overwrite. But if you protect your files, the space to overwrite gets smaller and smaller, and then it will stop recording. You can change the exposure, both on the front and the rear camera. You can put indicators on there, WDR, rotate the display, rear mirror, so you can mirror the cameras. You can put details about your number plate on there as well. I haven't found a way to remove the VanTrue or any of that sort of stuff, but you can put your number plate on there if you've got more than one vehicle. Your time stamps and stuff. Time lapse, you can do a time lapse. I've got mine off because I don't need it for that. You've got a parking mode as well. Now I'm not sure how the parking mode works because when my bike is turned off, the EasyCam turns off, therefore it's not getting power and it's not going to pick anything up. It gives you a battery low voltage protection as well, which is good. You can have your mileage statistics, your GPS settings will tell you exactly how many GPS satellites you're connected to. You could change towards kilometers per hour or miles per hour, all of that good stuff. Or you can turn it off if you want. Change your Wi-Fi password, format your SD card, and they recommend you should format your SD card like once a month or a couple of times a month. That's why I've left the recordings of it saving the locked files when something happens for only 1 minute. Because I think, well, if nothing's happened, formatting the card just to keep it running optimally will be really good. But if something has happened, I'll download the file, so that's fine. You can change the time and date if you want, the device sound, warning tones. You can have different warning tones on there for different things. So power on, key sound, key lock sound, format reminding sound or reminder sound, abnormal stop recording reminder. I've got all of those on because I want to see what they're like when they do stuff. The frequency, I've left it at 60 Hertz. I think it's got something to do with the refresh rate or something. I really don't know. You've got the certification information, the system information, and then you can go back to default settings. The app is really, really quick. Really, really like the app. And it's never failed to connect. And downloading a file is really, really good. And the quality of the cameras is really good. I've got the recording of the sound on purely because it doesn't really matter if it's on or not really. You just get this horrible wind blast across the camera with the sound. But other than that, you get that on any any dash cam. I'm not going to be using the dash cam to vlog or anything. It's a really, really good unit. It took probably about an hour and a half to fit, and that was purely because I had to remove all of the side. So I had to remove that panel, all of the black stuff, this white panel, the seat, the hump, this back of the seat, and part of the fairing on the back just to get the cameras on, and then cinch it all into the wires that go into the Hex EasyCam, and that was it. There was no major issues at all. I know that when they first came out, there was an issue between the yellow camera, the yellow wire and the red wire being around the wrong orientation, but they've overcome that. There was no problems with this, and it's worked every single time. And I now know that when I'm out riding, I'm protected by a dash cam. Now I've got to answer the glaring question that some people will probably say, but Toby, you were singing all the praises of the Chigee unit. Why have you taken the cameras off? The only reason that I've removed the Chigee isn't because anything went wrong with it. In fact, it's the most amazing unit, and I think it's set the standard for a lot of these other people. Even Innovv have come out with their own now. But on Barney and Alvin, my two RTs, I have the sat prep for BMW. But as you know, we've reviewed the Chigee AIO 5 BMW, which fits straight into the sat nav prep on both bikes. But it now enables me to use the Chigee system on both bikes if I want to, or bring my XT over if I want to. But now I've got a dedicated unit that just does the dash cam recording and gives information and videos should I need it if anything goes on wrong on the road. So thumbs up from us at RiderCamTV. There are many, many different versions of dash cam, but the VanTrue is really, really good. Innovv's really, really good, and Chigee is really good. They're all, I would say, all along this level. They're all about the same price point. It was really easy to fit. The one thing that I really do like about VanTrue over the others is all of the others have a separate GPS that you have to put somewhere that sees the sky, whereas VanTrue have put it all in the main recording unit, the main body, so you haven't got to find all these wires. I've literally got one wire going from the front to the back, well, two wires, one for the camera, one for the remote, and they all go into the box underneath there, so there was less wires to hide and make neat. So I think it's a really, really good system. Hopefully on some point on the video you would have seen me put front and back cameras, and you can see the quality of the front camera. There's a difference between the quality of the front camera and the back camera, because the back camera is 1080p and the front camera is 3.1 something or 4K, something extraordinary. But it looks really good and it picks out the stuff that you need. I haven't gone out at night, but I've seen other people that have reviewed it, and the footage is really, really quite good from the front and back cameras as well. So I think it's a really good system. The thing that you've got to remember is if you've got one on your motorbike, it might mean that you need to change the way that you ride for some people, I don't know. Because there's so many things that happen on the road, it's really good for your protection if something happens to you. But if something happens, it's also a place where the police might be able to get evidence from, isn't it? So, you know, it might show the speed that you've been doing if you've not been doing the speed limit. I don't know, that's the one for you, but it will record everything that you have on there. Anyway, it's enough spouting about me. We haven't got any links for you to have any discounts or anything, but we thought we'd review and show you what we thought about a competitor to Innovv and Chigee, purely because it's a really, really good unit, and we wanted to see whether there were other good units out there. They're kind of about the same price point, but they're all much of a muchness in quality. But I do like the cameras. They're made of metal, and the mounts are really, really good. Right, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, all that jazz, but I'm off out to enjoy road and record it too.